Good morning, everyone. My papers entitled The Six Literal Days, The Explanation of Science and Biblical. So, this is the introduction. Some of the most controversial chapters in the Bible are the first 11 chapters of Genesis. Many scientists have argued that everything in the universe, including planet, Earth, and the life on it, they of creationism, a type of old Earth. Creationism is a metaphorical interpretation of the creation account in Genesis. It holds that the 6 days referred to in the Genesis account of creation are not ordinary 24-hour days but are much longer periods from thousands of billions of years. The Genesis account is then reconciled with the age of the earth. Proponents of the day age theory can be found among both theistic evolutionists. So, this is the statement. These are those statement of problem. Did God created the whole universe, including the original plants, animals, and first two people, Adams and Eve, in 6 literal 24-hour days? Second, did creation take place over million years? And the last, what does Genesis 1 really teach us? And these are the explanation of scientific or science. Most scientists today believe this. In word created everything, the sun, moon, stars, this planet, and all life on it. Some scientists believers refers to as God's second book. As modern scientists have studied the earth, particularly through the disciples of geology and plant theology, they have observed phenomena in the layers of the earth's crust that they interpret requiring millions of years to form. In addition, scientists have noticed a sequence of fossils in the geologic column that they suggest shows change or evolution from simple life forms to more complex modern ones. Finally, as a scientist have studied certain radioactive elements in the geological strata, they have seen the lowest rocks seem to be very old, some hundreds of millions of years, and that the upper layers gradually show less age. And these are the explanation of biblical. We should remember that the original readers of Genesis were not scientists or Hebrew scholars. Rather, they were former slaves, mostly uneducated, on their way to the promised land. The fathers were commanded to teach their children in Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 1 through 7. So the Hebrew language in Genesis 1 must have been very clear to the common people, even to the children. When we look carefully at Genesis 1, in Hebrew or even in English, it is clear that God created everything in 6 literal 24-hour days. First, we are told that He created the earth on darkness and then created light. Then He called the light day and He called the darkness night. And then He said in the original Hebrew, and there was evening and there was morning. One day, He repeated the same statement at the end of the second day through the 6th day. So the evening and the morning were the 6th day. Everywhere else in the Old Testament, when the Hebrew word for day, yom, appears with evening or morning, or is modified by a number, 6 day or 5 days, it always means a 24-hour day. On the day for God further show that these are literal days by telling us the purpose of Him. And these are the comparison and theological implication. Biblical literalists like the creationists. Creation scientists believe as a matter of religious conviction that the earth was created by direct action from God. In 1 week about 4000 BC, humans were created especially by God and with a spirit that all other animals lack. Scientific critics of Darwinism This is a varied group of critics, both professional scientists, mostly in physics, and wide-ranging intellectuals who are impressed by some of the difficulties in the Darwinian tradition. They thrive on the shortcomings of neo-Darwinism and the problems of the punctuated equilibrium viewpoint. They do not criticize the geologically accepted the age of the earth, and they can be agnostic about the origin of life. Some members of this group accept the possibility of final causes operating in the universe and the biosphere. They believe the humans being are more similar to other conscious animals than they are different. These people are often misunderstood by other participants in the debate, and they are often incorrectly lumped with religious extremists. And these are the conclusion of this topic. According to Stambog, the only reasonable choice which remains is that Moses meant to communicate the God created in a series of 6 consecutive 24-hour days. God, through the pen of Moses, is going out of his way to tell us that the days of creation were literal solar days. Stambog concludes by saying that the only meaning which is impossible is the days of creation were 24-hour days. There is no biblical or scientific reason to be ashamed of believing in recent 6-day creation. God has spoken clearly and truthfully. Will you trust His word over the arrogant claim of sinful men? The view that each day of the Genesis creation account is actually an extremely long period of time rather than literal days of 24-hour causes problem. For example, in Genesis says that the plants were created on the 3rd day. See, Genesis 1:11 through 13. That the sunlight was created on the 4th day. See, verses 14 through 19. If the 3rd days is actually a long period of time, how could plants have existed without sunlight? See, likewise, many plants require insect for pollination. How these plants have survived and reproduced without insect which were not created until the 6th day? If these days were actually long periods of time, this question proved that the 6 days is literal days. Thank you. I hope you understand the explanation of science between science and the Bible. Thank you for listening. God bless us.